What is up, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube? That's right, I'm Chris Smith. Today I'm going to be talking about Shadowhunters Season 1, Episode 5, Mushu to Go. Let's get this thing started right here. So if you didn't know the big plot is pretty much about this. Alec is pretty much in charge of babysitting Clary while Jace and Izzy kind of go on this important mission because they're looking for something. Now, this kind of picks up exactly where we left off in the previous episode where she has to kind of re-get her memories. The problem with this episode was that, if you remember the memory demon, right? The memory demon only kind of I feel like it was just a plot device to kind of get Malik together, and I feel like it really didn't matter and became quite irrelevant in this episode. They didn't mention it. She doesn't really even need it to find her memories. And you would think, okay, well, if that was the case, why not do that from the start? But hey, I guess if it got Malik together, right? But yeah, I thought this episode was really good, and I feel like the show is starting to find its pacing. I feel like the characters started to sink well into her roles. Clary, she's a little bit hit and miss depending on what she's working with. But I thought the direction was actually pretty good, and I thought, some of the fight scenes, whatever, I thought they were actually on point for the most part in this episode. And like I said, I thought the pacing and everything worked more well. I felt they're finally starting to find their niche. So to speak. But some things I really enjoyed and whatever, let's talk about this thing. Okay, so when Jace kind of talks to Alec at the very beginning, right, he says that he loves him. You do kind of feel sorry for Alec because, Alec obviously is in love with Jace. So you kind of be like, oh, he's kind of like playing with his emotions a bit. So I thought that was a fucked up thing. Also, when the conversation between Malik together, Magnus and Alice, right? So they have this conversation. It's about 30, 40 seconds, whatever it may be. And I thought it was actually one of the standouts of this episode because, it showed that they have a lot of good chemistry. They probably have better chemistry than anybody else on this damn show. And that's something since they only had this week and last week to kind of talk with each other. Also, particularly, what I really enjoyed was that you kind of see the Alex Walls. They kind of, they let down when he kind of calls. He's kind of when Magnus kind of calls him. He's having a bit of a schoolgirl crush of sorts. So I thought that was kind of funny to see. Also, we get to learn about their mom, that they kind of have a bit of a strange, not an strange relationship, but a rocky relationship between their mother, and then she's a bit, angry with him. So I thought that was interesting to add to the character, especially because, his sexual frustrations, whatever. And then Clary kind of calls him out that, he's in love with Jason. He says, no, I'm not. And, that just proves that he is a bit of like a schoolgirl of sorts. So I enjoyed that. We also get to see werewolves. I thought the wolf pack was interesting. I thought the wolf pack was actually more threatening than, Valentine. Because Valentine, I don't get this urge that he's a bad guy, really. He's a bad guy, I guess, but I don't find him menacing at all. That's just my opinion personally. Also, some things that really kind of stick out, we get to see Simon's power. Simon, obviously bit by a vampire, so that's interesting to see. Though nobody really notices that he's ripping off doors and doesn't think anything out of the normal, but for some reason they still do it anyway. Luke kind of tells Clary his secret. She kind of believes him. He doesn't. Then he kind of fights these wolves, and I thought the wolves fighting was actually kind of cool, even though we don't see shit and it's behind doors or whatever. I thought that was cool, but the wolves does look cheap for me personally. Some other things that really stick out in this episode, when Alec and Jace is kind of confronting each other because, Alec lost Clary. He is kind of pussy blinded because he's in love with Clary. And the funny thing is he's not getting any ass. So it's just like, why is he constantly, he's trying hard to get Clary. So I was just like, come on, let up on Alec. Yeah, he didn't fuck up this time, really. That was on Clary. And Clary's just like whiny. She's just, I can't tell if she's supposed to be brave or whiny or whatever. It's just all over the place with this girl. But yeah, I thought this episode was actually really good. Like I said, I thought the pacing and everything kind of came together there, expanding the world a bit more by adding werewolves to it. But hopefully they get a better budget. For me personally, that's just my opinion. Also, Simon says this is Brooklyn. This is just one nitpick. Simon says this is Brooklyn. It's not Brooklyn. That's not nowhere near Brooklyn. I've been to Brooklyn. That's not Brooklyn. Jace trying to, training or whatever. That kind of seemed like he didn't know what he was doing. But yeah, for the most part, I really did enjoy this episode. Now it seems like Luke is injured after fighting the Alpha Pack leader. And as I thought that was a cool scene. And they kind of fight each other. Now they have to go to Magnus and hopefully, we'll get Malik or whatever it may be. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, people. So what was your favorite part of this episode? Did you enjoy the phone call? Or did you enjoy something else? Let me know in the comments, and hopefully you actually subscribe. We can talk more about Shadowhunters every Wednesday when I do my review. But yes, comment, subscribe, and like. Subscribe. Help me out. Signing out.